So what does God assign to parents and families? God has assigned to parents and families the jurisdiction of education and discipleship of children, as well as caring for the basic welfare of the family, food, clothing, housing, etc., and basic health care provision and decisions. You see this in Deuteronomy 6, where the assignment is given to teach and disciple children. You see this in Ephesians 5 and 6, where God gives the assignment particularly to fathers and husbands to provide both for the physical and the spiritual needs of wife and children. You also see this in 1 Timothy 5, where Paul is addressing the needs of widows. So these would be people maybe with greater hardships, the disabled, the elderly, and so forth. And even there, Paul says, the first thing you need to check is to see if there's any extended family that can help. It's the family's job, it's the family's jurisdiction to provide for the needs of the family. He says, now, if there's a true widow who's completely destitute, a true orphan who has no family at all, he says, then the backstop for that is the church. The local community through the church ought to be the ones taking care of that. Nowhere is that assignment given to the state. This is why it was tyrannical for magistrates to try to force healthcare decisions during COVID. It was not their jurisdiction. It was not their assignment. This is also fundamentally why we object to government schools, government funding of private schools, as well as all other socialized forms of welfare and healthcare. That's not your assignment. We can also point out to the fact that when you do something, when you try to take some part of creation that God didn't design to be used in a certain way, it doesn't work. You're trying to, you're using a hammer on a Phillips screw. That's not what that tool's for. That's not what God designed it for. It's not gonna get better, it's just gonna get worse. It's inefficient, it's ineffective, and it will always ultimately trend violent. Remember, the other thing, once you ask the government to get involved in something, what you're asking for is funding, and funding means taxes. And remember, taxes always come with the threat of coercion. Samuel warned the people of Israel that if they demanded a king like all the nations, he might be as tyrannical as to tax them all the way up to 10%. Well, the implication is that a magistrate who taxes as much as God's tithe, 10%, is setting himself up as God. That's tyranny. It is. It's wicked. It's evil. It's theft. That level of taxation is also an inherent attack on the government of the family. The state is stealing from the family what God intends to build the wealth and power and influence of families. Now, we may be grateful for all the rumbling we've been hearing in recent years about school choice, but the goal we have to keep our eyes on is true liberty. True freedom, true liberty, when it comes to education, means families using their own money to fund their own educational choices and churches and local communities helping them freely. That's freedom. You using your own money to provide the education that you believe is best for your children with the help and assistance and support of your local church community. Not government-funded choice, quote-unquote choice, via coercive taxes and wealth redistribution.